Casper, have you already read the house rules?
No, not yet.
Okay. Ah, there we go. And now?
I'm
Okay.
waiting for you guys to start and the recording to start. I'm ready for myself.
The recording has started, and I'm going to welcome everybody. And Casper's quickly going to read the house rules, and then over to you, Tamelo. So, Casper, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Gous. Welcome everybody to today's session. We only have a few small house rules for today. We would like to ask everybody to please mute your cameras to save data and bandwidth. Also to mute your microphones, keep all the background noise to minimum. If anybody has a question at any point in time, please feel free to raise your hand, or you can even use the chat area. And there will be question and answer sessions between the presentations. And just enjoy. Over to you, Dr. Gous.
And over to Tamelo. Or you go. There we go.
Thank you so much. Welcome everyone to USEC Robotics and Environmental Sciences Live Online Learning Unit 3. And those are my team members, Dr. Gous, Kabelo Nzani, and Casper. Once again, on Monday we touched on the introduction of robotics and the environmental calendar. Yesterday, which was a Tuesday, we touched on robotics and the My 2050 environmental calendar. Today, we'll be looking at some of the introduction of robotics within the environmental sciences field, as well as tomorrow, we're looking at some awareness of the future of robotics and environmental sciences. So the learning of outcomes for today, we'll learn about the importance of ocean, our impacts that affect the ocean, as well as we'll recap the My 2050 calculator, as well as the environmental calendar. The general class culture is very basic. The purpose of this is to equip educators, students, trainers, facilitators, to coach of a robotics team, as well as we welcome all questions, and recordings will be available on the MOOC portal. For those of you who have not registered yet on the MOOC portal, that is the registration link below. And then, yes, let's move forward. So I'd first like to acknowledge the Wildlife and Environment Society for using their environmental calendar, as well as the Department of Environmental Affairs for using the My 2050 simulation calculator. And then today I'm acknowledging WWF for using their Cc and information pocket guide, as well as their ocean game. All right. So look at the WWF Cc Ocean challenge. So this is a very interesting challenge that I would like everyone to know of. This basically teaches us about the importance of ocean and to be aware of the ocean. So the code named Neptune's Challenge takes on the role of a submarine captain exploring South Africa's oceans and its wildlife to help Cc and their Think Green campaign. The Think Green campaign is a color system that allows you to find out about the sustainability of any seafood species you want to eat. There's the information for further details. So how to play this game? This is a very simple game. So with this, you use the arrow keys to navigate your submarine. And then on mobile tab and hold to guide the marine. Collect tracking points by interacting with fish. Try to get a high score by catching as many fish. Here you will have to avoid hazards that will damage your submarine and lower your score. And then try to get a high score, a level at the end. When you run out of oxygen, you can replay through each level. So I just wanted to say something regarding this. So with this, you can create a robotics challenge whereby you design a robot that have to collect your fish. You can design your fish as your recyclable material, or just design something that a robot can pick up. And then when your robot collects lots of objects that are representing fish, that means it's a higher score. meaning that you'll be collecting those higher score, that objects and placing them in a certain place. Your robot will have to avoid certain hazards, so you need to have objects that are distracting there, but just place them strategically so that those are your hazards. And then this can be a repetitive game. So the food security as well as the livelihoods of many local fishing communities are influenced by the seafood choices consumers make. To ensure abundant fish stocks, seafood for the future, it is vital to keep ecosystem balanced and healthy and make a choice. With so many seafood options in restaurants and supermarkets, how can you ensure that you're making the best choice? Now you'll have to click on that link below. So this is roughly their link here. Click on the link. Oh, there we go. So here it just shows you different types of fish species that one needs to buy and what not to buy. I'll explain further on this. Let me go back to the presentation. So with this here, it's a pocket guide. So this pocket guide shows you, yes, there we go. So what is the SESI list? This is the South African Sustainable Seafood Initiative. So with this, it's a traffic light quick reference guide to help you make environmentally responsible seafood choices. It is not an eco-label nor endorsement of specific products. So with this, for example, as I've mentioned, colors play a very critical role here. So for example, when it comes to green, you look at the best choice. These are the most suitable seafood choices from the healthiest and most well-managed fish populations. These species can handle current fishing pressure or farmed in any way that does not harm the ocean. Now the orange one is think twice. These are reasons for concerns, either because the species is depleted as a result of overfishing and cannot sustain current fishing pressure, or because the fishing or farming method poses harm to the environment, or the biology of the species makes it vulnerable to high fishing pressure. On the red one where it says don't buy, this is a red list species are from unsustainable populations, have extreme environmental concerns, lack appropriate management, or are illegal to buy or sell in South Africa, and no sale species are illegal to sell and are reserved for recreational fisheries who require a valid fishing permit and must adhere to specific regulations. So here you can see the different types of fish that one is, which are part of the best choice, the think twice, and the ones that you don't have to buy. This is where now we go back to this link. As I mentioned, color plays an important role. As you have seen, the green color is the best color, the orange color is think twice, and the red is do not buy. So these are some of the fish species. I'll just show you the link between this. So with this, this is a very interactive tool. For example, you can, currently our young ones have smartphones, so you can encourage them to scan the QR code. When they scan the QR code, they'll be able to get into the app, and download the app. So with this app, the fun part about it is, for example, when you go to them to a restaurant to buy seafood, they'll ask these 3 basic questions. The first question can be, what species is it? How was it caught or farmed, and where is it from? So based on this table here, they'll know whether it's the best choice or whether to think twice or whether to not buy it at all. So this also raises the awareness of poaching, the awareness of the biology of fish, as well as the awareness of farming. So this is another skill that kids can use as well. Now, using this technology, after downloading this app, kids will have a fun experience whenever they get to buy these species, whenever you get to go to a restaurant. So now I just want to show you some video. All right, there we go.
This is the story of 3 plastic bottles, empty and discarded. Their journeys are about to diverge, with outcomes that impact nothing less than the fate of the planet. But they weren't always this way. To understand where these bottles end up, we must first explore their origins. The heroes of our story were conceived in this oil refinery. The plastic in their bodies was formed by chemically bonding oil and gas molecules together to make monomers. In turn, these monomers were bonded into long polymer chains to make plastic, in the form of millions of pellets. Those were melted at manufacturing plants and reformed in molds to create the resilient material that makes up the triplets' bodies. Machines filled the bottles with sweet, bubbly liquid, and they were then wrapped, shipped, bought, opened, consumed, and unceremoniously discarded. And now here they lie, poised at the edge of the unknown. Bottle 1, like hundreds of millions of tons of his plastic brethren, ends up in a landfill. This huge dump expands each day as more trash comes in and continues to take up space. As plastics sit there being compressed amongst layers of other junk, rainwater flows through the waste and absorbs the water-soluble compounds it contains. And some of those are highly toxic. Together, they create a harmful stew called leachate, which can move into groundwater, soil, and streams, poisoning ecosystems and harming wildlife. It can take bottle 1 an agonizing 1,000 years to decompose. Bottle 2's journey is stranger, but unfortunately no happier. He floats on a trickle that reaches a stream that flows into a river, and a river that reaches the ocean. After months lost at sea, he's slowly drawn into a massive vortex where trash accumulates, a place known as the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Here, the ocean's currents have trapped millions of pieces of plastic debris. This is one of 5 plastic-filled gyres in the world's seas, places where the pollutants turn the water into a cloudy plastic soup. Some animals, like seabirds, get entangled in the mess. They and others mistake the brightly colored plastic bits for food. Plastic makes them feel full when they're not, so they starve to death and pass the toxins from the plastic up the food chain. For example, it's eaten by lanternfish. The lanternfish are eaten by squid. The squid are eaten by tuna. And the tuna are eaten by us. And most plastic...
So I just want to stop there, just to show you that the plastic that me and you pollute does not only end up in the dam sites, but it also ends up with the fish and us eating it at the end of the day. So now I just want to show you something. In terms of yesterday's presentation, I also spoke about groundwater. And as you have seen in that video, they mentioned that that plastic also, part of the water that gets washed away is ends up ending into the groundwater, which also leads into the ocean. So yeah, I'll come back to this part, but I would like to move forward. So based on yesterday's My 2050 calculator, I just want to show you why is the My 2050 calculator important. So the importance of this, like I mentioned yesterday, is to engage the public in the energy and climate change debate, as well as to get to use this, and this is where it can be accessed. So I'll just have to pause for now and ask any questions based on Did any of you make use of the My 2050 calculator yesterday? Kindly please check for me on the chats.
Okay. If anybody has a question or wants to add something, they can add it onto the chat or they can raise their hand. Okay. Almaria said she hasn't yet used it so far.
All right. Because I wanted to highlight something different based on the interactions. So I see that no one made use of this calculator. So with that, I'll go back to the My 2050 calculator. So the My 2050 calculator. Oh, I thought I was sharing my screen. Sorry. With the My 2050 calculator, as I've mentioned yesterday, this is a simple tool. So here you get to learn about the choices that we make around the world. All right, I just need to block the sound. No sound. Yes. So
yes, now we can hear you.
Yeah, now you can hear me. All right. I would have loved to get someone who made use of this calculator yesterday. There was something that I would have loved to ask based on their interactions. So for those of you who have never seen this, yesterday I touched on this presentation and I spoke about the My 2050 calculator. So I see some of you might ask, where is the link around all of this? So the link it's linked to the ocean as well, because remember, our choices that we make ends up affecting the ecosystem or the ocean one way or another. But I see that we don't have questions regarding that, so I'll just move forward and I'll come back to this. All right. Oh, regarding the ocean game, as I've mentioned that I would like us to look into it. So the ocean game, it's a very nice, simple game that one can interact with. I know that I'm somehow mixing everything. There we go. Can you see my screen? Yes.
Yes, I can confirm.
All right. So as explained, this is the ocean game. So, all right. So let me just go through the game so that you can see how the game is interactive and how one can, play this game. So here they are saying uses a traffic light system to rate fish species into 3 lists so that when you buy fish, you will be able to make a wise choice that does not harm the oceans, which is what I've mentioned earlier on. The green, which is one that you have to buy, the orange, which is to think twice, and the red that you don't have to buy at all. So this game, it's very nice because, like I said, one can interact with this one way or another, whether by downloading the app or not. So you can choose a submarine, different colors of submarine. So choose white. So here, say welcome to your first dive. Be aware that there are some fishing vessels in this. Don't get tangled in any fishing lines or nets called gear and try to dodge the boat anchors. Dolphins have been spotted in the area. Try not to disturb them. So you can see that when I those fish species, or when I touch any of the objects that are mentioned, the scores gets reduced. And as I have mentioned, one can use this for what's this? As a robotics game. So one can just design a nice, oh, see, fishing gear left behind are danger to sea creatures because they can harm and get caught in them. So this is also part of learning as well, to learn about the importance of ocean. As I've mentioned that you hit too many hazards and have to return to base. You have failed the mission. So this is something that, as I mentioned earlier, one can include this into the robotics challenge. I don't know whether you can see the screen and can hear the sound as well. So this is all about raising awareness of the world around us, especially the ocean. You see when about the dolphin, it basically minuses my points. So with this, you can go to the next level and enjoy the game as you're playing it. So now I'll go back to the presentation from current slide. All right. So I also spoke about the My 2050 calculator, and I would encourage you to also, interact with this game and look for some interesting information or some loopholes that you might see there. Because as I mentioned yesterday, that this calculator considers key emerging sectors and subsectors from both the supply and demand perspective, as well as this includes energy demand from transport, households, industry, energy supply from electricity generation, such as gas, liquid fuels, as well as agriculture and waste. And I just showed you the link. Now I'm going to talk about the environmental calendar. So the environmental calendar consists of days that are celebrated in all 12 months, and each month has its own specific day that we celebrate. For example, this month of August, I spoke about International Clouded Leopard Day on Monday, as well as Women's Day. I also highlighted some of the important women that have innovated things in the World Lion Day, as well as the Elephant Day. So we are currently in the World Water Week. So in this World Water Week, as I've mentioned, some parts of the world, they started celebrating this World Water Week yesterday up until the 1st of September. And the theme is Seeing the Unseen, which is the value of water. So on the previous days, I've been giving you suggestions or devices that one can use to save water at their households or at work. So today I want to blend all this into one. So there are 10 ways to help our ocean. I'll focus on these 3. At home, one can conserve water, one can reduce their pollutants, and you can also reduce the amount of waste that you use, meaning that you can recycle your waste. Now, when you are around town, it is encouraged to shop wisely, meaning you have to choose sustainable seafood, as I've indicated, using the ocean the pocket guides from the ocean. You buy less plastic and bring a reusable bag. Reduce vehicle pollution, which is highlighted in the My 2050 environmental calendar, as well as use less energy, meaning choose energy efficient light bulbs and don't overset your thermostat. And then now on water, this is what I was also talking about. So I don't know whether you can see the relationship of the ocean game, the environmental calendar, as well as the My 2050 calculator. So here on number 7, it says fish responsibly, follow catch and release practices, and keep more fish alive. And then if you would like to, for this one, I'll also suggest that one should get a permit. And then for number 8, it says practice safe boating and anchor in sandy areas far from coral and seagrasses. Adhere to no walk zones. And then the number 9 is respect habitat, healthy habitat, and survival go hand in hand, treat with care. Number 10 is very simple. Anywhere, anytime, volunteer for cleanups at the beach and in your community. You can get involved in protecting your watershed too as well. So now, as mentioned, the theme is seeing the unseen, as well as the focus here is groundwater, an invisible resource with an impact everywhere. So now, as I've indicated on that previous video, you saw how a simple bottle leads to the ocean and ends up being eaten by fish, which we end up eating that fish one way or another. So this picture also covers that story, which is like a mini summary of that. So you can see some of the ocean life with what we pollute. And I wouldn't suggest us to live the life that we're living right now, because as you can see, our behavior does not only affect us, but it also affects the ecosystem. So some birds even end up being caught by our masks that we threw away, since we no longer use masks. And this only does not end with birds, it also ends with dogs as well. So it is very important for us to consider our ways in terms of pollution. All right, I'd also like to touch on this video before I hang up. This is just a video to highlight some of the fish we eat are eating plastic as well. So in this video, you'll see what's happening. So in this video, they are using a robot. So here I'm highlighting the importance of technology within the environmental sciences field. Enjoy.
The California coast, and Monterey Bay in particular, is a beautiful place. It's hard to look out across this ocean and to say, there's a massive problem of ocean plastic pollution out there. But that's exactly what we found when we looked below the surface. We have a challenge to understand the problem of plastic pollution in the ocean, which is why we partnered with the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute.
Pull that back out.
MBARI uses robots and other tools to explore and understand our oceans, including this one, the ROV Dock Ricketts.
All right, here we go now. Get wet.
Going out on an ROV dive is really like visiting another planet. We're using these robots to go down into a habitat that's truly inaccessible by humans.
when you travel through the deep sea. The ocean looks like a star field. All of these particles are actually dead animals and plants that are raining down to the depths of the ocean. This marine snow is what feeds a lot of deep sea creatures. And in some of these particles, we can find microplastics.
Microplastics are some of the smallest pieces of plastic found in the ocean. These microplastics can be as small as the width of a human hair.
We've measured microplastics throughout the water column, starting from the sea surface and going down to 1,000 meters using our robotic vehicles.
We found microplastics at every depth we sampled in Monterey Bay. The most common type of microplastic we found in the deep sea was PET.
PET is a very common plastic polymer that is used in a wide variety of single-use plastic products. Plastic has become this very convenient and durable item for so many products that we depend on. The sheer volume of single-use plastics that's produced means not all of it can make its way into recycling, so wind and rivers carry plastic downstream into the ocean, where large materials are broken down into smaller and smaller materials and eventually become microplastic.
What was most surprising about our results is that we found the most microplastics 600 feet below the surface of the ocean. It shows that the extent of plastic pollution reaches down into the deep sea.
Microplastics are not just an ocean surface problem. I didn't expect to see so many plastics at depth. When you think of the source of plastics, which is us, you'd expect to see a lot more near the surface.
Animals.
So with that in mind, do you have any questions around this before I continue?
I was just starting to enjoy this, Tamilo. Now you stopped it.
Yes, that's the trick. Be focused and be with me.
Yeah, Tamilo, I
Right,
can maybe
yes.
add, there was one video I once watched on how deep the ocean is. But what had happened is it explains on every single level of what type of marine animals is on each level. And it says it's about, the deepest point is the Mariana Trench. If not mistaken, it is 12 kilometers deep. And there was only once, there was a few successful dives, but what they found when they came there was one plastic bag, 12 kilometers below the sea level.
Yeah, nice. Thank you so much, Casper, for your inputs. So based on that video, one can tell that the relationship of technology within the environmental sciences is very important, because who would have known or who would have seen those plastics if we didn't use such technology? So moving forward, as we are celebrating the World Water Week, we are going to create a challenge. So as you heard that lady, me and you are the ones that contribute to plastic pollution in the oceans. So what we can simply do is to collect recyclable bottle, we can collect bottle lids, PET tags, as well as any recyclable material to create awareness of the World Water Week using robotics. So now, as I've indicated in the previous 2 days, I would certainly encourage all of you to share the videos so that we spread the word, so that we show that we are practical. We're not only just talking about this. So these are the basic designs, equipments that you need: your Caesar, your insulation tape, your mat, as well as I've collected my bottle lids. And then here, as previously shown the other day, so you can just create a nice small challenge. And then with this challenge, remember, you are creating an awareness. You're not only collecting these plastic lids, you are making news of these plastic bottle lids. So you will see that it's not only one type of recyclable material. I collected bottle lids, and this is your bread tags. And for those that were not in the previous two sessions, these are also roll-on bottle lids, as well as lotion bottle lids. So I ensure that I collect different types of bottle lids to play my role within the environment. So I'll also encourage you to share your videos of you collecting and designing a nice robot game. You don't only have to specifically design it like this. This is just an idea for one to use and to design that they can, contribute to the environment. So I hope we can now see the relationship of everything being linked into one. And then with this one here, I used stuff that we take for granted. These are your old earphones, your old wires. I use these as well as part of the challenge. And these are the old batteries that I use. So as I've mentioned, you don't have to recycle these or collect these and make this as part of the fun. Make use of them. And by the way, for those that were not in the past two sessions, that square, it's where you have to drop off your collectible material. And then here I've got my bread tags. So you can see that I'm not limited to one thing. I collect different types. And I really encourage you to do this and also design a nice robot that will collect everything at once. So when you do hands kids and you awaken them to recycle, and they'll see a need and they'll always find ways of recycling. So now here's some interesting information. There's free environmental science lesson plans, which are called Think Earth. So you can check out the first 4 units for grade 1, 2, and 3 by clicking on a cover to the right. Whether you're a classroom teacher, an administrator, or a homeschooler, you can register to gain free access to all of them. I'll just show you each and every session or day. I'll show you each book for you that you can download. This one is Jay's Trees, focuses on conserving trees and other resources. Students learn that trees provide us with many benefits and learn the importance of using only the paper, water, electricity that they need. So I'll just show you some objectives or some lesson plans here. You can see that lesson 1 is about exploring the environment. Lesson 2 is about trees. Lesson 3 is about learning to think earth. And lesson 4, practicing think earth behaviors. And your lesson 5 is think earth. So these are some of the resources that one can, look into. And then, as mentioned yesterday, these are some of the news that I have for you, that one can participate. As you know that we are sharing community, we are not limited to talking only, but we practicalize what we say. So I don't know whether we have Ntlantla on the participants. As I've mentioned and promised, each day I'll also highlight this so that we are part of this and play our role. So there's a climate change awareness color walk and expo that is taking place on the month of October. Ntantla, are you here to talk about this?
Yes, I'm here to Mellow.
Sure. Just give us a nice summary.
Okay. As I've mentioned before, this is an initiative that we came with because the Hammanskraal area mostly they are struggling with water, and it's good to know that we are actually celebrating the Water Week in this state as we are now. So they are very struggling too much with the water situation. Their water is not nicely purified. That's causing them brown teeth and stuff like that. So we just wanted to give them awareness on what is contributing to their dirty water mostly. And we would love everybody to be on board in this, whoever is interested. Currently, we've managed to secure the city of Tshwane to be part of the initiative. So they said they will be there just to support and get the message out there.
All right. Thank you so much. And these are your information, right, where people can get hold of you.
Yes, those are your contact. Those are our contact details. So if you want any more information, or you want to be a participant, or if you want to bring a stall and showcase what you are doing, contributing towards environmental health, we will be there to cater you with a space there. Just let us know in time, and we will be ready for you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ntantla.
Thank you so much, Tumelo.
Sure. And then please follow us on our social media pages. We are ISET Lego on Facebook, and on YouTube we are ISET UNISA. And we'll certainly like to have more subscribers on this. Please subscribe to us. Please email us on that relevant email. And then there's ISET Robotics and Environmental Sciences MOOC that's coming up, so watch the space. And then for the month of October, the month of September, we have some live online learning sessions. I don't know whether Dr. Khos would like to touch on this.
No, it's good. It's just that we have the strategy sessions, the M3, and then we're going to unpack some research in competitions, and specifically the first Lego League competition, which is about energy and about superpowered. And right. then the last week in September, we're going to do an introduction to Python, which is really great. Just noting that we do have 5 sessions at the UNISA regional offices for UNISA students. And so we're going to go Florida on the 20th, Sunnyside on the 21st, and then we are going, and now I mustn't get the order right. I think it's Johannesburg, Vaal, and Ekurhuleni, I think in that order, those 3 dates. So we'll be doing some robotics on site, and hopefully we'll get some cool videos that we can use then in our live online learning sessions. All right, thank you everybody. Thanks to Melo for sharing this.
Thank you. Do you have any other questions regarding today's session from our online participants? Thank you so much. That's me from my presentation. I hope I provoked some of you. I hope you've heard something.
Yeah, the one about the license of the fish, that one is an interesting one. That's all I can say about that one.
So when you say license of fish, meaning permits?
Yeah, so the only permits that we have, it's when we go to sea, if you want to fish at sea, you get a month or a year permit. When you go to the dam, depends on which dam, but most of the dams here in Limpopo, Mpumalanga, Northwest, and Gauteng, you don't need a license to go fishing, and take any fish out of the dam. Some of them I wouldn't advise because of water pollution, but some of the dams, yes.
All right, noted. But it's if one needs to get their permits and they don't know where to get them, I'll suggest that they contact their local municipality, because these permits differ per province.
Actually, the permits, you get them for the dam. Usually we don't need one to go fishing in a dam. When you need one, you just go to the place that you're staying. They will have one. For the sea, to go fishing in the sea, right, is you have to go to the post office.
All right.
Yeah, it hasn't been changed in the last 10 years. The
That
price.
doesn't make sense at all.
That's 70 Rand. And it's a 5 Rand difference between a year and a month license.
Maybe that also needs to be addressed.
All right. Thank you. I hope you have seen my link from the Ocean Game to the My 2050 calculator to the environmental calculator, environmental calendar, as well as practicalizing this. Do you have any other questions related to today's session?
I'm just going to add a last bit, but we're going to discuss it tomorrow. And it's this whole thing of going fishing and where the trawlers just catch everything, including the turtles, the whales, and the dolphins, which don't get eaten but get killed in the process. And so maybe tomorrow we can chat about it. But there's definitely a movement in the fish farming industry, especially with the use of robotics within aquaculture. And we've been having some really cool discussions about that. And so maybe, Tumelo, on your agenda for tomorrow, can we just have kind of 5 minutes discussion at least on how robotics is being used to change the fishing industry with all these various aquaculture opportunities? Okay.
All right.
I also have a video for that one also.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
But Dr. Gous, even the trolling and the netting, one of the dams in here in Limpopo, it was called Runosakop Dam. What happened with it is they went in with the nets and that dam is now completely destroyed.
Because they've removed all the fish.
Yes, and yeah, that was mostly one of the biggest problems.
What a disaster.
All right, I see. Thank you so much to both Casper and Dr. Gous. I see on the chats, she's asking whether if we do environmental awareness on Facebook about Water Week, can we tag Lego from the school site? Yes, yeah, that's highly welcomed as well. Thank you.
Awesome. And just FYI, we're doing some face-to-face workshops in October in the what's the October holidays, and I'm sure we will have our ocean challenge alive and well and running on those days. Maybe we can do some fun activities there. All right.
Yeah.
And thank you, Tumelo. Thank you. You want to say something else?
Yeah, no, I'd like to, thank the likes of Nhlanhla for what they are doing. I mean, it might seem small, but it goes a long way. So this is highly encouraged, and I would also recommend most of you to be part of it. And if you do have any other events, you can even tag us as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, right. Louise, I suggest, the last time I checked, you are a teacher, right?
Teacher in Limpopo.
Yes.
Hello, yes, I'm a teacher.
Yes, please also give us some feedback, because yesterday you did mention that you're also going to use the My 2050 calculator. Just give me feedback of how it's going, and I can perhaps give some few suggestions as well.
Okay, great, because I also shared it with other teachers today.
All right.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah, they're very interested and they're definitely going to use it.
Thank you.
All right, that's great. That's great.
Great.
Okay.
So cool to be part of this community of sharing. Absolutely. All right. 5 minutes to get a cup of coffee quickly, and then we'll be back for the next session starting at 4 o'clock. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to Mela for presenting. Thanks, Casper, for the recording. Thank you. See you now. Okay. Bye.